and we go to the Twin Cities. That's right. The Minnesota Timberwolves, 20 years of checking out early. They got in that little play-in Fugazi thing last year. They celebrated like they'd won the championship, led by Patrick Beverley. But the Timberwolves have not only been an NBA franchise, they have been, for the most part, underachievers this season. And they have not been able to live up to the high expectations many basketball pundits have. And so it's early. They strive to get to the next level, but they've played, I believe, 17 games so far. It's a long 82-game season. But something happened here that caught my attention. Now, Rudy Gobert, he's the guy they traded all their draft picks to get from the Utah Jazz. Rudy Gobert has had enough of the hometown fan. He does not like the boo. And there's been a fair amount of booing early in the season because you've not lived up to expectations. And so we'll use a appropriate reference for Minnesota. The Gophers pop up, right? The Gophers pop up and they start hooting and hollering and razzing the Timberwolves. And he did not like that. Now, if you didn't hear what he had to say, and probably you didn't, but Rudy Gobert recently lashing out via the media about the fan support the Timberwolves are currently getting, and he took a shot at the paying customer. Rudy Gobert advised the fan that boos, the negative fan, the critical fan, he said, quote, just stay home. 3 words, just stay home. Turns out that he expects blind support, it would appear, through good and bad times. Let me give you the extended dance remix quote before you zonk out. This is from Rudy Gobert. He said, quote, I just don't appreciate people that come in to boo your team. He bickered. The big money NBA player with a number of awards, trophies, Defensive Player of the Year awards and whatnot. He said, when you're a fan, you've got to support your team in tough or the good moments, he said. Quote continues. There's no team in NBA history that only had good moments. So if you're not going to support us in the tough moments, just stay home. Close quote. Now, Anthony Edwards backed up his teammate. He agreed by saying, stop booing us. He begged, mercy, mercy, mercy. Stop booing us were his 3 words. So we have stop booing us from Anthony Edwards and just stay home from Rudy Gobert. That's a fan-friendly team they have there in Minnesota. So let us discuss the question. You going to go thumbs up or thumbs down on Rudy Gobert's lecture to Timberwolves fans on staying home? So I am going to go, and also Anthony Edwards, I'm going 2 thumbs down. 2 thumbs down on this. My observations, you've got Lullaby, Paul Simon, and Beavers. And we will combine all of these things together, and we will raise the bar unless we lower the bar. So, number one. I didn't get another one. Number one. All right. So, Rudy Gobert is doing... Number one. All right, now, stop. Rudy Gobert is doing wonders for the stereotype of the French athlete. They're booing me. Boo! I can't believe it. Why would you boo me? I'm Rudy Gobert. Don't you know who I am? It's like, well, that attitude. Why don't you go, you should be an artist or a chef, a French chef, something like that. Rudy Gobert has been unstudied to begin the season. He's the headliner. He's the guy they traded all the family jewels to get in Minnesota. And the early returns, not all precincts are reporting in, but the early returns are not looking good on the investment. Now, Minnesota's 1 game over 500 right now. They're sitting in the 10th spot as we're doing this in real time. It's all bundled up, the NBA. It's early. No one's watching. No one seems to care. The players don't care. The fans don't care. The TV people don't care. Everyone's like waiting for some big event where they start caring about the NBA. But they have won 4 straight games, Minnesota. But that's more of a byproduct, I am told, of them taking advantage of teams playing on back-to-back, players resting, healthy players. So how does Rudy Gobert respond to this? So they play a little bit better for 4 games. And how does Gobert respond? By giving a sermon on fan etiquette. Now, of all the people that I can think of who I want to tell me on how to act at a sporting event, I don't see Rudy Gobert's name on any list there. Right? I don't think he would make the cut, just like he barely makes the All-Star cut. He's like the last player picked every year. But this is a guy that needs a lullaby. He needs a lullaby sung to calm his nerves down. I thought it was Minnesota nice, but it turns out it's not Minnesota nice. The Timberwolf fan, they will bite you. They are bloodsuckers, those Timberwolf fans. And so this guy, he needs a lullaby. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's going to buy you a mockingbird. Because everyone's mocking you. They're pointing their finger at you, and they're mocking you. They're goofing on you for this little statement. What are you doing? And also Anthony Edwards, who we like. These guys, tone deaf. Tone deaf. Do better, be better. What are you doing? You should be happy anybody spends money to watch you play and play and pays money for you. They pay money. They give up the most valuable thing they have, their time, and you're telling them they're not allowed to boo. And by the way, Rudy Gobert, let me tell you something, okay? You've been around a few years in the NBA, and you talked about no team in NBA history has only had good moments. That is true. But also, no team in NBA history has blindly been cheered without any boos. Doesn't happen. Does not happen. Doesn't happen. All right, page 2. What does that particular quote, the big mother quote there, the just stay home, what does that tell you about the mind of Gobert? It tells you this guy, his mind, his body, he is thin-skinned, sheltered. He's like the old Paul Simon song, The Boy in the Bubble. Like, I'm the boy in the bubble, and then came the trouble. Now, Gobert also claimed that during his time with the Jazz, he was never treated as poorly as he has been by the Minnesota fan. That's what he implied there. We find that impossible. Regardless, we would like to welcome Rudy Gobert to the other side of the train tracks. Toto, we're not in Salt Lake anymore. We're in the land now of 10,000 lakes. Welcome to your new normal. Mr. Terrible Attitude, Patient Zero. And rather than earn the cheers of the fan, he wants his critics to stay home. And that tells you that's the mind right there, right? Rudy Gobert has a bright future of working for the largest operator of ice cream trucks, the Mr. Softy Company. I see him working the Jersey Shore, driving the Mr. Softy truck, selling soft serve cones and cups and sundaes and milkshakes and all the toppings and all that. Because he'd be better at that. Although somebody might complain about their order, that their soft serve cone melted too fast or something like that. All right, final point. Let's look at the bigger picture. Now, we've been big supporters of the fan here on this show over the years. Is there a proper code of conduct for fans? Now, the NBA has a code of conduct. Things that you used to do to razz players, you're no longer allowed to do. So far, they have not outlawed the boo. The basic boo has not been outlawed. But don't be gullible here. The fan, a good fan, not a blind sheep, holds players accountable. You don't live in the borough known as Suckersville. And you should expect Beavers. Not Oregon State Beavers, but you should expect the team that you support to work like Beavers, to play with intensity and persistence. Maximum effort.
Nice Beaver.
And hustle on every play are two things. You don't have to have the greatest athletes of all time to hustle, to put effort in. It requires none of that. You don't have to be the greatest gifted genetic lottery winning basketball player to play hard. So when that doesn't happen, and you know when that doesn't happen, when you're taking lazy shots, you're not getting back on defense, you get Prince's Raspberry Beret, right? The Raspberry Beret raining down from the harmonica. No talent required. None. Loafing is not allowed. And from what I have from what I've heard here, I haven't seen too much of the Timberwolves. I've seen them a couple of times so far this year, and it does appear to be a team that has been on cruise control. That, like most of the NBA, they're just like, oh, we'll pick our spots and we'll randomly play well here and there, and occasionally we'll give it the old college try.